Welcome back to the Royals Review pod. Join us on the back of another draw against league leaders Birmingham. I'm your host, Dan Worth, and I'm joined by my good friend Jimmy. Jim, I'll jump straight to you. You were at the game on Saturday. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I think it was definitely one of the standout performances this season, for sure. The whole team dug deep. And I thought, again, we were the better side against the league leaders, much like the opening game of the season. I think going into the match, it was always going to be about defending strong. We don't have loads and loads and loads of goals in us at the moment. So I think, my sort of idea was, if they can defend strong, they could probably get something from the game. And that is exactly what Reading did. And to be fair to Birmingham, so did they. I think both defence were the sort of standout areas for each team. Arguably Mbengue's best performance this season, if not in a Reading shirt. I thought he was crazy. Won everything, dealt with anyone that got in his way. And by the looks of things, he ran the muscles off Lyndon Dykes' legs as he got subbed in probably around the 70th minute. I just love the balance we have with Mbengue and Bindon. They sort of just complement each other so well and offer so much defensively and with Mbengue especially progressively, which for a 20-year-old and a 23-year-old, it just shows sort of like real maturity to their game, which is, it's going to be a massive miss if we do end up losing Mbengue at the end of this season as well. Fingers crossed we won't. I'm sure we'll come on to some of the good news. It was a great performance. I also think Michael Craig had a brilliant game, and he sort of continued to grow into the game throughout. There was one moment around the sort of 70-minute mark where he did a roulette to a Cruyff turn and then just sprayed it across the pitch to Kelvin. And that just shows how confident he's become recently. And I'm not just saying that because of like that little one bit of flair and skill that he showed. I think defensively he was great. He seems to be much tighter to his man now, which was a bit of an issue towards the beginning of the season. Think back to that Barnsley match. That's one that sticks out for me, where he was in no man's land and just miskicked the ball, went straight to his man, and they just they went 1-0 up, didn't they? All in all, great performance. I think it tops off a real good run of form over the last month or so. If you're getting anything against the league leaders, especially a team like Birmingham, who are just miles ahead in terms of finances and everything, you can't complain one bit. You're still on mute, mate.
I'm on mute. I didn't want anyone to have to hear me coughing and crying. Or maybe you will on another episode. But to jump back in on Mbengue, is what I was trying to say. It is his best performance this season, looking at the WhoScored.com rating with 8.18. He was the player of the match against Birmingham, which, I mean, it doesn't take too much to work out why. But none more so than that ridiculous block, I guess it is, or save, essentially.
Goal line, save, clearance,
That is like Houdini stuff. Like, there's absolute like magician. I don't know how he's managed to do that, but he has. But one of the key stats for me from him is a 100% tackle success rate. Won 5 aerial duels, made 1 successful dribble. Like, he basically just did everything. The one successful dribble is his only dribble, so that's 100%. Aerials, he had 5. He won 5, which was only 63%, but that's still decent. But the tackles too. 8.18 rating, goal line clearance. Like, not really much more you can ask from a centre back.
No, all he was missing really was popping up with the winner. But I mean, you'll take it. If he plays like that every week, then he definitely won't be here next season. He's he had a fantastic game.
Yeah, I just love, like, we always talk about like the passion side of things. Like, he plays with such passion, like plays with his heart on his sleeve, and like gets the crowd going. Like, he runs so much. He just puts his body on the line all the time, and I just think there's so much to love there from a player. And you can never really fault his effort or attitude. So I'm a huge Mbengue fan. So like to see him perform like that against the toughest team in the league, I think, yeah, hat off to him, because I don't think, as I say, I don't think we could have asked any more. Let me quickly ask you then, because I was slightly surprised, I don't know about you, but to see Wareham benched for Kelvin through the middle up top. I actually thought that we'd go Kelvin on the left and Wareham up top. What did you think on that from the start? And then whilst you're chatting, talk to me about the impact you thought Wareham made when he came on.
Yeah, I thought, Kelvin, he played well. He just didn't really get the chances that he needed. I think starting Wareham and having Kelvin on the left would have made much more of an impact, because I don't think Camara had a particularly good game. He was probably the one sort of weak link, which was unfortunate. But yeah, I think Kelvin, he could have had a better game, but it sort of didn't sort of play. They weren't really playing to his strengths. He just didn't really see too much of the ball. Obviously, like I said earlier, the Birmingham defence are a very good back line, so it was always going to be a tough match. I think with Kelvin though, it's just good to sort of see him getting back up to speed. He's looked better sort of every match, so that's going to be really important now that I'd say the sort of like hardest fixtures that we've got are now behind us. So yeah, like you said, I think having Wareham as a striker and having Kelvin as the left winger, that's definitely our sort of strongest team. When Wareham came on, I thought he was great. It was frustrating because I thought, if he's playing like that for the last 15 minutes, then just imagine he came on and within a minute he very, very, very narrowly missed the goal. And obviously, if you're scoring that late, I doubt they would have thrown it away. So yeah, I think again with Wareham as well, he just seems stronger every minute that he's sort of playing. But no, it was definitely one of the best. It's hard because he didn't do anything wrong really when he came on. Obviously, it would have been great if he scored, but I feel like if he played that for 90 minutes, he probably would have found the back of the net. So I'm looking forward to seeing Wareham start the next match. I imagine he will. And Kelvin being out on the wing, which I think is probably his best position as well. But yeah, it's a big time for those two, especially now that Smith has left. And I know we've spoken about filling the boots of Sam Smith. And I think Wareham is slowly sort of stepping up to that. But yeah, it'll be good to sort of see them both consistently scoring.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it helps to have like set positions. So like if we do just know that our best like attacking three is Kelvin left, Wareham through the middle, and then Campbell probably on the right. I don't think that would be a bad thing to have that sort of established. So I'm really excited to see Wareham come back, and yeah, he's going to get in and amongst the goals. I'm sure of it. So hopefully maybe he comes in against Wigan. I would have thought he does. I mean, as I said, I was quite surprised to see it changed against Birmingham. I don't know whether like I don't know whether he wanted to play Kamara's like maybe to protect Garcia a little bit more against the tougher opposition. I'm not really too sure, but yeah, we'll see against Wigan. Let's look forward then, because the run of fixtures, as we discussed last time, is looking okay. And given that we're unbeaten in 5, I think there's reasons to be positive, right? As in reasons to be positive about where we might end up this season. I know we've both been sort of quite aligned on where we'll finish, like somewhere sort of in the middle towards the playoffs. But maybe is it time to start dreaming that we can achieve a bit more than that?
Yeah, well, I've definitely been saying that I think we can get playoffs pretty much all season. There was a bit of a is that going to be possible throughout January, when it sounded like we were going to sort of lose the whole backbone of the squad, I guess. But it didn't really pan out that way. I know we only lost Smith, really. And then, we got past this sort of tough period, and getting a point and a clean sheet against top of the league, that's a point gained easily. I don't think anyone was expecting anything. So if we can carry on that similar form, I don't see why we'll be able to miss out. Well, I don't see us missing out on playoffs. I wrote down some of the fixtures that are coming up in the next over the next 5 games. So obviously, Reading, we've got Wigan away, Exeter at home, Crawley away, a tough one against Wrexham at the SCL, and Stevenage at home as well. These are some of the ones over the next 5 games from teams around us. So Birmingham have got Wickham. I mean, obviously, I think automatic promotion is a little bit out of our reach. But anyway, I'll read them out. Birmingham have got Wickham. Birmingham have got Orient. Wrexham have got Bolton. Orient have got Charlton. Bolton have got Birmingham. Huddersfield have got Wrexham. Charlton have got Barnsley. Stockport have got Charlton. Bolton have got Stockport. And Wickham have got Wrexham. So pretty much every team that's in and around us are playing each other at least twice out of the sort of mixture, whereas we have only got Wrexham at home, and you would say some much easier fixtures against the likes of Crawley and Stevenage. Even Wigan on the weekend, they're not in the best of form. So I think if we can sort of carry on similar form to what we had over the previous 5 games, we're going to see the table shift around a lot. Sort of around where we are. I think it will be really interesting to sort of see, in a month's time, we could be in the playoffs, like have a pretty solid position in the playoffs. If we just need to, I know we've spoken about this before as well. We just need to start turning those draws to wins, and not crumbling against the shittier teams, which I think we can do. I think the performances that we put in recently have been really good, and we've deserved to come away with the results that have happened. So and also that's just over the next 5 games. There's similar fixtures for those other teams that are in and around where we are, pretty much up until the end of the season. So it just sort of shows how important our form has been over the last month. Picking up those wins and draws against teams like Bolton and Huddersfield have just kept us well and truly in the race for the playoffs. So I think I'm feeling as confident as ever now. Like I said, it dipped a bit throughout January when we didn't really know what was happening and everything was a bit uncertain. But I think now I'm like, okay, we just, went toe to toe again with top of the league. We've got less players. So much more shit has happened behind closed doors and all of that. I feel like this team want to get playoffs, and I don't really see any reason why they can't if they continue to play in the way that they have. What about you?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I am. I always think that the time where you really need to get into playoff form is March.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost, which it obviously doesn't, but it almost makes what's happened so far irrelevant. Because if we go on a long winning run now, it's done.
Yeah.
So what I'm really hoping is that they're feeling quite confident after that Birmingham result, because they should be for sure.
They should be. They should be
toe to toe with the team that, let's be honest, shouldn't be in this league. They're way too good for this league. So they're probably going to get over 100 points and walk this. So to potentially even, or potentially should have even beaten them on both occasions. They should be very proud of that, and they should want to go forward. But on the flip side, I think Wrexham were the only team in the top 6 this weekend to win.
Yeah.
So all of the team, I mean, obviously we do too, but all of the teams around us and above us have a propensity to drop points. Like Stockport lost to Cambridge, didn't they? And they're rock bottom, 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
So although they have to play each other and they'll be tough games, some of these smaller teams can go and get a result against Leyton Orient or Huddersfield or whatever. So I think we are getting to a point where we can start to look ahead and feel really positive about this squad and what we can achieve this season. So I mean, like, why wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? If you can be positive and start to believe, then that's what it's all about. So I think I predicted 8th at the start of the season. I think that's probably a good. It's going to become a good prediction even at the end of the season. But yeah, I reckon playoffs are in sight. And I noticed today, Reading were 100 to 1 to be promoted this season. Obviously, as you mentioned, the automatics are probably out of reach. But 100 to 1, I think I might have a couple quid on that. Just that could buy us a few pints at Wembley.
Got to be worth a fiver, right?
It's got to be. Well, obviously that's a reason to be positive. The result against Birmingham is a reason to be positive, but it looks like there may be another reason to be positive as a Reading fan, as we see Reading go into another period of exclusivity with an unknown bidder, I guess. I don't really know what you call him. That can only be good news, but I guess we've been through this a few times before.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, reading that statement, it seems to me to sound a little bit more like it's happening. I don't know what you think.
Yeah. I mean, it's great news to start the week off, really, isn't it? Yeah, I think if this doesn't get over the line, then I can't really see there being a positive end to this whole saga. But yeah, you're right. It does seem, and I think most fans, especially from what I've seen on social media and everything, they seem to feel slightly different about this. And there's obviously keywords you can pick up on in the statement from the club that seem, that sort of allude that this is further down the line than it ever has been before. Besides the Courig collapse right at the last minute. So yeah, I think there's definitely reasons to be positive. But I think it's just important that fans keep the pressure on. Like you said, we've seen these situations before and how they've panned out previously, and I think we just simply can't let that happen this time. It'll be sort of way too late, if they're trying to finalise another deal and it's in the summer, we're going to have no squad. I just don't think there'll be any interest from anyone to try and sell the club at that point. So I think, this is it's now or never, really. So I'm just, I'm hoping that the deal gets over the line in the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks, I guess. I don't really know how long these things take. I know they said that it's in the sort of final stage of due diligence and all of that. But I have no clue really how long these things will take. But fingers crossed it all goes to plan and goes through.
Yeah, I think you pretty much summed up the whole thing. This whole thing as a fan is, I have no idea what it means and what it takes to buy a club, or what it takes to, all of the things we've been going through. Like, what is any of it? And as a fan, there's not really much you can do other than just sit here and hope that it gets resolved and gets sorted. But obviously, even at the weekend, you see Noel Hunt come out and say, well, the pitch is terrible because we literally can't afford to put the lights on the pitch.
Yep, exactly.
And that, I mean, there's obviously worse things going on in the world, and probably even at Reading, but that's pretty embarrassing for a club of our history and size and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we don't really need to get into the reason why this would be great to get a new owner, but I'm with you. I really hope that this gets sorted this time round. We can end the season on a high.
Yeah, I think we'll probably get a pretty good indication on what's going on through the company's house updates, and obviously this time next week we'll be expecting a statement from the club on just the monthly progress as they've been doing. So yeah, I definitely think we'll probably find a lot more out over the next week or so.
Yeah. Right, I think that's it for today then. Thanks very much for joining me, Jim, as always.
No problem.
As we've mentioned throughout, lots of reasons to be positive as a Royals fan at the moment. So long may that continue. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you after the Wigan game. Come on, you are.